All right, I'm here with Danny at the Utility Equipment Expo at the Volvo booth, and we're going to check out some of the new electric machines they have on display. All right, first off, Danny, thanks for having us. I just want to, a few questions. I'm completely new to the electric scene. Yep. I'm very curious about it because obviously this is the wave of the future. We're going to see more and more of these as time goes on. So my first question I have for you is why electric? Why not a hybrid or a hydrogen or another additional fuel source? Why does electric seem to be the way to go on these smaller machines?
Well, obviously, Mike, electric is more the availability of electric in charging stations for the machine.
Right.
Hydrogen is not available. It's not available in the U.S. right now or readily.
So you can plug this thing into the wall at the house.
You can.
You can't run down to your gas station and get a hydrogen replacement.
Right.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of why we went that direction with electric first.
And then also with hydrogen, I think what a lot of people don't understand is it's kind of difficult to store.
Very hard to store.
So I think the best way, and I'm no expert on this, but the best way is a very cold temperature.
Absolutely.
And that creates a whole lot of other issues. So why not the hybrid route? Why don't we have a little 5-horse Briggs & Stratton in this thing running a generator?
Well, again, we're trying to get away from that. We're trying to get it to be quiet depending on the application, right? If you wanted to do work indoors and stuff like that, you still don't want to have the emissions and stuff. So we just felt like going full electric was the way to go.
Now, some things people like me in my position have to realize is this may not be the best machine for my job and my application,
right?
But there is a contractor out there where this is the only machine for their job and their application. I'm going to revert back to some of the stadium work I did, like in Busch Stadium.
Yep.
Everything in there had to be electric or propane.
Absolutely.
We didn't even have the option of a diesel. So something like this, those guys would have loved to have working on that job, putting seats in. So.
Yep.
Every machine has an application.
It does.
And we need to keep that in mind as we review this machine. So,
right.
So this is the ECR 25?
Yes, ECR 25.
So this is basically the same frame as what the diesel machine would be?
It's exactly the same.
So if the hood's closed and you don't read the electric on it, you wouldn't know any difference.
You're not going to know the difference.
But obviously, I'm going to let you kind of show us what we're looking at here. This is a far cry from a little diesel engine.
Yeah, so look at it this way. The simplest way to look at it, Mike, is we just basically took the diesel engine out. We put 3 battery cells in its place with a brushless electric motor turning the pumps. So it's a 48 volt system. There's 3 different ways you can charge it. You can do, obviously plug it in a wall at home. That's going to take 12 hours.
12 hours.
If it's totally dead,
okay,
to charge it up. Or you can do a 240 plug, which would take 6 hours to plug it from totally dead. Or you can
and
do
240 is something that's still readily available even at your home and most job sites.
Absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned a stadium deal.
Right.
That's readily available in a stadium. Also, depending on the application, a lot of that's available indoors and around those areas where it's going to be needed, right?
And then you got one other option, which is the quick charge, and that's a 3-phase charger, correct?
It is. It is. 480 volt is what it does, and it's actually converts it over to 48 volt to DC 48 volt.
Okay.
So it's AC to DC. That's a 2-hour charge, and that plug is here
right there,
basically to charge it, and that's 2 hours.
Does that for you? Correct?
The machine does. You just plug it up, and as long as you're putting the power in, it's a smart charge, and it'll charge the machine and do that for you.
One thing I noticed, obviously I'm pretty mechanical, like working on stuff, and from a maintenance standpoint, there's 0 maintenance on that motor, correct?
Absolutely.
No grease fittings, no oil to check, no nothing. It's just either it works or it don't.
That's right, because the motor is, like I said, brushless, so yeah, it should last.
So the only real system you have to worry about is the hydraulic system, which is, it's as far as I've been told, it's the same pump, same hydraulic system, same everything. The only thing different is what's turning it.
That's exactly right. Yep, and so you have those maintenance items as far as changing the filter for the hydraulic part of it. You have, obviously your tracks and wear items like your bucket, cutting edges, that sort of thing, but everything like that's typically
now, one other
the
thing
same.
we probably need to mention is runtime. So this thing fully charged, what can we expect?
If you're running it actively, not stopping, you'll get about 3 to 4 hours.
Okay.
On that. Yep.
And then
before it'll need to be charged.
They're kind of advertising this as basically in normal use would be like a 6-hour run window, correct?
Absolutely.
Because you're not,
Yep.
especially on these smaller machines, you're not running full out most of the time. You run it for a little bit, and then you
You
set
may
things
stop,
up.
do some work, and, do some things, and then go back to work. So you're exactly right.
Let's hop in the cab and check it out.
Absolutely.
All right, sitting in the seat, the one thing major I noticed difference is the display monitor.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Yep.
So I did have the privilege of running this thing a little bit yesterday. If I remember right, I got to put my seatbelt on.
Yep.
Because it will not like that. So we'll click this into place now. This here is actually the start button, correct?
Yes, sir.
So basically, I don't know if you guys will be able to hear this on camera, but if I press this, it actually spools up the electric motor, and that's the RPM it's running at. We can dial that up, and we can dial it down right here just like a normal throttle. They're suggesting in this application we run it around 1400. And then from there, it's basically
Yep.
push the
you're safe.
armrest down,
Yep.
and we go to digging. Let's give this thing a try. All right, digging with it, it feels very similar to the diesel version. It's maybe just a tick slower, but I can't say that for sure. But I mean, as far as the feel of the controls and the movements and everything, the biggest difference is just the noise coming from under the seat. It's definitely a little bit of a different sound here in the electric motor run instead of the diesel, but I feel like I'm moving along pretty good with it here. Definitely hard ground, and it'll move it. See how she walks and travels and works with the blade.
That white noise that goes to an actual beat is very interesting.
It is. And if you're next to something, it gets louder.
Right.
Yeah, if there's nothing around you, it's kind of quieter. Right. It actually gets feedback from itself.
So Danny, after operating this thing, if it wasn't for the noise from coming from behind the machine, I don't know if you know a whole lot difference between that and the regular one.
No, I honestly, I operate them a lot too as well, Mike. And as far as the performance, it feels really
They're very,
close to the
very
same.
similar, yeah.
Absolutely.
I guess, and this is one of those things, if you're a contractor that has a fleet of these and you're set up to charge them, it'd be no different than a contractor has a fleet of the other and you're set up to fuel.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
well, I see an electric loader over there. It's got my curiosity. We're gonna have to go check it out
Mike,
next.
you need to check it out. It's
That
awesome
thing looks
too.
pretty cool.
Absolutely. Great having you.
Thank you. All right, we've come from the mini excavator over to the L25 loader. I got Lars with me. Thanks for
Hi,
having
Mike.
us. You are the product development manager. Did I get that right?
Yes, I'm the product manager, so I'm the guy giving input to engineering, what requirements need to be fulfilled for the North American market.
So whatever critiques I have, they go straight to the top, right?
Yes.
Right through you. See, I like this guy. We can get stuff done with him around here. So.
I hope so.
All right, so we operated this a little bit yesterday, but we never got to pop the hood on it. Kind of tell us some of the specs, some of the basics of it, and kind of the applications you see it getting used in.
Sure. This works in any applications. I would not run it in the snow removal business because you're driving too far. But landscaping, demolition, wherever you need a small loader to load material, or you can put on the broom to sweep up your yard. Put on the forks. You lifting capacity is 4,400 pounds.
So this here pretty much has the same capacities as its diesel
It's
counterpart,
the
correct?
same exactly
The
capacity.
one major difference between the diesel one, other than the electric, is this one is actually electric drive, not hydrostat drive.
Yes.
So it
yes.
actually has a motor driving the transmission.
Yes.
Then it also has a different motor driving the hydraulic system.
Yes, it has two electric motors, one for the work hydraulics and steering, and one separate motor only for the drivetrain.
Now, one thing I noticed yesterday, and I know the Volvo loaders have two pumps, one for drive, one for that, but they're still using the same engine, and they can rob power from each other a little bit. This thing's not like that.
No, it's
one
totally
engine's
different.
driving this thing into the pile, and the other motor's lifting it up, and it's quite impressive how well it multitasks. Similar situation, charge times as far as the excavator.
Doubles number of batteries, so everything is double.
Everything is
So
double, but the double battery still gives you the same amount of run time
Yes, yes.
and about the same amount of charge
A
time.
much heavier machine, and people don't realize driving is consuming most of electricity or energy.
Really?
Yeah.
So can we pop the hood on this thing and take a
Sure.
glance at it? So this is obviously quite a bit different than what you'd see
Yes,
here.
yes.
See here normally. And these are the 6 batteries right here.
Yeah, and it's a battery master box.
Okay.
You have an onboard charger here on the side, your cooler for the hydraulic oil, and basically no engine maintenance.
So what is the weight difference between this one and its diesel counterpart?
It's a few hundred pounds
So it's
heavier.
pretty comparable.
Yeah.
And in this application, sometimes a little bit extra weight don't hurt you because it's obviously in the back for
Exactly.
counterweight.
Yes,
So.
yes.
Well, that's a beautiful machine. Let's see what she'll do.
Yes. Jump on in.
All right, we are up in the cab. The first thing that's a little bit different from this one is it actually has an ignition switch on it to get everything fired up and going. Once we do that, we need to release the handbrake. This here raises and lowers, tilts the bucket, very similar. This is forward and reverse right here. Pedal down below and steering wheel. Very, very, very similar to what the other loader would be. So we're gonna dump out this scoop of dirt and see if we can get another one. All right, going in for our first bucket here. It's got a really nice level indicator right there on top of the cylinder. Let's see how much traction and power this thing actually's got. Taking it easy here, being a first timer. Oh yes. It's definitely very smooth. Kind of like this thing, Matt. Think we can find a reason to have one?
I think we can find a reason. I can always find a reason to spend your money, Mike. Coming around behind you.
I mean, it's not afraid to get a scoop of dirt, I'll tell you that much.
I see this. Really, the only thing it's missing is a Dirt Perfect sticker. For the size of the machine, it's actually got a pretty good capacity bucket.
Application like Wade out there loading mulch or running around the mill for like Ann, it would be perfect. It operates very, very, very well.
I definitely think Wade should buy Ann one of these.
Yes, we should work on that for sure.
Uh-huh.
Well guys, unfortunately that's going to be a wrap on the Volvo electric machines. I'm very thankful I got the opportunity to run these things. Very curious about how they run, how they operate. Been hearing a whole lot about them, and obviously we're going to see more and more of them in the future. If there's something I didn't cover or some questions you have that I didn't get answered, be sure to comment down below. I'm sure myself or somebody from Volvo will be more than happy to answer those for you. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed, and we shall catch you on the next one. All right, we come over from the mini excavator to the L25 loader. I've got Lars with me.
Hi, Chris.
And you are the
Cut.
that's gonna make it.
Camera rolling.
I'm terrible with names, Mike. I'm so sorry.
Lars is a little nervous in front of the camera, obviously.
Yeah.
He did good yesterday. We filmed him quite a bit, so.